Okay, rolling.
Okay, this is going to be a lesson to Todd about barns and cheese factories. Ignore the lisp, I chipped a tooth.
Cheese factory.
So anyway, this is what I learned from Jerry App about barns. One way to tell, like, if a barn is old or if it's newer. What era it was built in. Okay, so the oldest barns that you'll find in this countryside have a roof that is a straight line, one gable.
Show us an example of that.
Well, right now we're in Old Lebanon, and this is a town, so there aren't any barns really in this town. But don't blink, because we'll soon be in the country. We do have two cemeteries. So anyway, that's an example of an old barn down there. See the roof line? Straight. Over here on your right, that's an example of one of those after World War II. And you can tell because they had come up with engineering techniques to make it rounded. See, initially, Wisconsin was not a dairy state, it was a grain state. Well, why don't you take a picture of it? Don't take a picture of the judgment stuff. That used to be home plated and they have the best fish fries ever. Okay, so anyway, this is New Lebanon. No, yeah, this is New Lebanon. No, it's not. This is Old Lebanon. Okay. On your right, okay, this is an example of another kind of barn. You notice the hipped roof? So those were built from like the 1920s until before the war, and they were built that way so that they would accommodate more hay and straw. Okay, so anyway, back to the history of why the barns were built this way. So up here on the left, you'll see a very old German farmstead, and they were grain farmers, not dairy farmers. And so these barns lent themselves to the storage of grain more than they lent themselves to the storage of hay and straw for dairy cows. Although that one was a dairy cow one. And you notice how a lot of barns are built in hillsides, and that is to make it easier for them to get the straw or hay up into the hay mow. They can just back or take the hay wagon up to the edge and load it. Let me take out my splint. Let's see, I got chipped tooth. Okay, so we're now approaching New Lebanon, but people only notice Lebanon. So these are both old towns. The reason they call it New Lebanon and Old Lebanon is because when the train came through, everyone moved away from Old Lebanon to New Lebanon because the train track was here. So that must have been a long time ago. On your left, you will see an old schoolhouse. This must have been the original school in Lebanon, but now it's a private residence. Thank you. On your left, you'll see Wally's Sportsman Bar.
We went there once.
Yep, and on your right, that's where I saw Jerry Apps talk about barns. There's a barn in this town. Do you see the barn in this town, Todd?
No.
See the silo? Coming up, it's on your left. Right there, that's an old barn.